equivocation, without argument. The federating units, we are no longer federating units but administrative provinces created by the military. And that is a major problem. Because of our ethnically diverse nature, Nigeria needs to properly federalize. So part 15 of the We the People of Nigeria series. My name is Ikeazor Akaraiwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, legal practitioner. In the part 14, I did conclude with the thinking that Nigeria has not made the progress she ought to have made. Nigeria has not fulfilled her promise, the promise expected of her 1960 at independence, for the very simple reason that she got her independence a little too early for the over 250 diverse ethnic nationalities to be welded into one nation by the British colonial masters. As happened in India, 400 years of independence. Even then, India still had her fissures and frictions, which led to the exit of Bangladesh and Pakistan and Bhutan and a whole lot of others. However, 46 years of colonial rule, I'm afraid, was insufficient to weld ethnic nationalities whose only history was warring against one another in tribal wars, to weld them into one nation. And after 46 years, we were left high and dry. We were on the way out of our ethnic nationalities, out of our ethnic consciousness, and we were not yet there as a nation. That is part of the problem why Nigeria has not fulfilled her promise. We are a house divided against itself. And we needed statesmen, redeemers, statesmen to come on board and weld us into a nation. That has been the failure of the political class in Nigeria. We've seldom had statesmen, with few exceptions. General Yakubu Gowon, General Olusegun Obasanjo, I suggest, are the two statesmen who ruled Nigeria in executive capacity. Of course, if you go back to the First Republic, Nnamdi Azikiwe, the ceremonial president of Nigeria, was a man of strong nationalistic tendencies, but I'm afraid he was a ceremonial leader. But for those who have been in executive capacity, I cannot think further than the two stints of Obasanjo as a military ruler and as a democratically elected ruler, and the 9-year stint of Gowon as a military ruler. Where at the end of the Civil War, he proclaimed no victor, no vanquished. And after the Civil War, and after the Civil War, he went around from state to state, local government to local government, asking the nation to pray and praying, and indeed apologizing for the excesses of that war. General Gowon remains an evergreen statesman in the history of Nigeria. Having said as much as that, the problem with Nigeria is an ethnic consciousness which far outweighs the national consciousness. And lately, ethnic consciousness has been complemented by religious consciousness. We are more religious, more Catholic than the Pope, if you like that expression. We are more religious than nationalistic. And our primary loyalty goes to our religions. Indeed, a governor between 1999 and 2007 said that the Constitution of Nigeria was inferior to his religious book, the Quran. And such a comment ought not to come out of the mouth of a government, state government. If you will not say that the constitution is superior to your religious book, please do not say that the constitution is inferior to your religious book. Just be silent on that. It's called political correctness. It's also called wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. With all your getting, get understanding. And it was unfortunate, and that is the problem we have today. It underscores the fact that we are not yet a nation. And that's why Nigeria has not fulfilled her promise. We are, alas, a conglomeration of ethnic nationalities. And like Chief Awolowo said back in the day, Nigeria is a mere geographical expression. 65 years after independence, we should not be a geographical expression any longer. But the separatist tendencies are so high, 65 years after independence, that it becomes clear that there's something very wrong. And like I said in the previous episode, episode 14, I believe, that rather than give Nigeria independence, these 250 ethnic groups as one nation, either Britain should have postponed independence till 100 years of colonialism, approximately, just a rough figure I'm choosing, it doesn't have to be 100 years, or Britain should have given independence to the ethnically homogeneous or near homogeneous groups, and we would have had about 6 nations emerge in Nigeria. But of course, Britain did not have the benefit of foresight, and I'm speaking with the benefit of hindsight, and you know hindsight is always 2020 vision anyway. So, but the truth is, the Southwest, with its homogeneity or near homogeneity, some will tell you that the Egba and the Jebu and the Ekiti and the Badon, they don't see eye to eye, and the Oyo. But there is certainly more homogeneity in Yoruba land than they have with other ethnic nationalities, the Igbos, for example. So if the Southwest was a nation right from 1960, Southeast, South, in spite of its ethnically diverse peoples, there is some level of homogeneity, and then there will be no majority, no absolute majority like we have in Nigeria today. In Nigeria today, the demographic majority of some groups totally dwarfs the rest of the nation, and renders the nation comatose. If the North Central, which is ethnically diverse groups, but no real superior majority, we are a nation. The North Central, the Northwest, is Hausa, Fulani, and majority, and some ethnic minorities there, but welded together by common language, Hausa, and common religion. In most parts, Islam, the Northeast, Kanuri, Fulani, other minority groups, but welded together in most parts by Islam and by the Hausa language. That would certainly have been better. But now we have a situation where we can't do anything about it. We are a nation. And if you ask me, having become a nation, separatism is not the answer. To partition Nigeria is not the answer at this point. It's not going to happen anyway. How is it going to happen? I don't see how it can happen. We do not have the international support or the skill set to sit down together and agree to go our separate ways, like Czech Republic and Slovakia Republic, the former Czechoslovakia. So the only solution is to make the best of this situation. We are one nation. What is the way forward for Nigeria? Having not been socialized into one nation by 46 years of colonial rule, like I said in the previous episode, our 3 or 4 major rulers, major leaders in the First Republic, Ahmadu Bello, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, were all born before Nigeria became amalgamated as a nation. So the idea of Nigeria was always a secondary uh, of secondary importance to the ethnic groups, to their ethnic groups. And when you think that 65 years after independence, children born after independence still perceive more allegiance to their ethnic nationalities, then you know we have a big problem. So what's the way forward? At this point, the way forward is a sensible, thoughtful reconstitution of the nation into a different type of federalism. First, let me go down memory lane. In the First Republic, we had 3 regions, then 4. The Northern region, Midwest region, Western region, and the Eastern region. And these regions were mini states, mini nations. They took ownership over their resources and paid a tax of 50% or thereabouts to the central government. They even had their own flags and their own anthems, but they had a common currency, the pound, shillings, and pence, and they had their common name, Nigeria, common flag, the green, white, green, common football team, the Red Devils, later renamed the Green Eagles, and the like. But time has moved on. We have moved on, and it is no longer so. Due to the first military coup of January 15, 1956, the country was reconstituted, and the regional governments were abolished by the soldiers, and they passed the Unification Decree of 1966, which abolished the regions and made the nation just one nation, made the nation a unitary state, which was a mistake of gargantuan proportions. But of course, the military did that because no military government can run a federal republic. The military is unitary. The military has a command structure from the general officer commanding, and so there was no way they could run the country in that way. As a federal republic, they needed to appoint regional administrators and transfer them at will. So they did that. But the tragedy is that when democracy returned in 1979, 13 odd years later, the civilians did not revert to the regional structure. The civilians continued with the administrative structures created by the military, euphemistically called states. As at 1979, when the soldiers departed for the barracks and the democratically elected rulers came into office, there were 19 provinces, which they call states, created by the military, but which were to a large extent shorn of the features of federalism. One of the major features of this hybrid unitary federal administrative regions called states was that they received monthly handouts from the central government. The resources within the federating units did not belong to them anymore, or belong to the central government, and the central government gave out these resources based on some curious formula like population, land mass, and the like, derivation and the like. And they gave out these monthly hand-me-downs with the federating units. So without equivocation, without argument, the federating units were no longer federating units but administrative provinces created by the military. And that is a major problem. Because of our ethnically diverse nature, Nigeria needs to properly federalize. Right now there are 36 states, and the House of Representatives is even considering another 31 states. The solution given our ethnic diversity, which has proven to be a disadvantage because there is no nation in the true sense of it, because we are a house divided against ourselves, and the ethnic groups are undermining one another. And for example, corruption is practiced at will and protected because of ethnic sentiment. The corrupt man will be protected by his own ethnic nationality. That is the problem. So, so punishment is not implemented. There are no sanctions because there is protection. So the cases may go on in court, but there will be ethnic blackmail. And seldom do you see any significant corrupt individual who is ever sentenced to jail. It has happened, but it is the exception and not the rule. And I say ethnicity and religion is the reason. The solution is to separate a little, not by partitioning the country, not by balkanizing the country, but by returning to the principles of federalism in the First Republic, where the federating units rule themselves. They control their resources and they rule themselves, and they are able to develop on the basis of their idiosyncrasies and their homogeneous features. They are able to develop, and the development of this federating unit and that federating unit translate to the development of the nation. We are too centrally wrong for our nature, for the ethnic diversity. We are too centrally wrong, and therefore is a feeling of defrauding by the ethnic nationalities. They feel that those at the center, because they are the majority ethnic nationalities, they're defrauding them, the minorities. Solution is to weaken the central government just a little by devolving more of their powers, and certainly returning to fiscal federalism. Let us have resources managed by the federating units, who will pay a tax of 50% as was agreed before independence and in the First Republic. And in that case, the nation will make progress, and the jostle for the center, the jostle for the headquarters of the country will reduce significantly, because the strength of the nation now becomes its federating units. I will say more about this in future editions of We the People of Nigeria. Thank you for listening.